Hello. It's time to rest now. Time to let everything become quiet and calm. Tonight, I'm going to tell you 5 stories about peace. Not the kind of peace that just means being quiet on the outside, but the kind of peace that comes from inside. The kind that stays with you even when things are difficult. These are Jataka tales, stories from the Buddha's past lives when he was learning about letting go of anger, finding calm in chaos, and understanding that inner peace is more valuable than anything else in the world. Peace doesn't mean nothing ever bothers you. It means you know how to let things go, how to stay calm, how to choose kindness over anger, quiet over noise, understanding over fighting. Get comfortable now. Let your body relax completely. Let your breathing become soft and slow. Let your eyes close gently. These stories will carry you towards sleep like a gentle stream carries a leaf softly, slowly, peacefully. Let's begin with the first story about an elephant who had to learn to let go of his anger. In a forest near a village, there lived a great elephant. He was enormous, powerful, and usually very gentle. He lived peacefully, eating leaves and bamboo, bathing in the river, enjoying the quiet rhythm of forest life. But there was one thing that made him angry: noise. Loud, disrespectful noise. When children from the village would come into the forest and shout and yell and run around making chaos, the elephant would become furious. His peaceful day would be ruined. His ears would hurt from the shouting. His calm would be shattered. And when he got angry, he would trumpet loudly, chase the children away, and sometimes knock down small trees in his frustration. The village children learned to fear him. "Don't go near the angry elephant," they would warn each other. "He'll chase you." One day, a monk was traveling through the forest. He was walking slowly, peacefully, enjoying the beauty of the trees and the sound of birds. He came upon the elephant, who was standing by the river, still fuming about some children who had been shouting earlier that morning. The monk stopped and looked at the elephant calmly. "You seem troubled, friend," he said gently. The elephant turned to look at this small human who wasn't afraid of him. "Those children," the elephant said angrily. "They come here and disturb my peace with their noise. They have no respect. They make me so angry." The monk nodded thoughtfully. "They do make noise, don't they?" "Yes, and it ruins everything. My whole day is destroyed by their shouting." The monk sat down on a rock by the river. "Tell me," he said, "when the children shout, does it hurt them?" The elephant paused, confused by the question. "Does it what? Does their shouting hurt them? Do they suffer from making noise?" I don't know. I suppose not. They seem to be having fun." "Ah," the monk said, "so their shouting doesn't hurt them. But it hurts you. Is that right?" "Yes, exactly. That's what I've been saying." The monk smiled gently. "But they're just making noise. The noise itself isn't reaching into your body and hurting you. What's hurting you is your anger about the noise." The elephant stood very still, thinking about this. "You're carrying the anger around with you long after the noise has stopped," the monk continued. "The children go home. The forest becomes quiet again. But you're still angry, still upset, still suffering. Who is really causing your pain? The children or your own anger?" The elephant felt something shift inside him. Like a heavy stone he'd been carrying suddenly became visible for the first time. "So what do I do?" the elephant asked quietly. "How do I not be angry?" "You let it go," the monk said simply. "The noise comes. You notice it. It's unpleasant, but you don't hold on to it. You let it pass through you like wind through branches. It comes, it goes, and you remain peaceful. But what if I can't? What if the anger just comes? Then you notice the anger. You say to yourself, Ah, there is anger. It has arisen. And then you let it go too. You don't become the anger. You don't carry it with you. You just let it pass. The monk stood up, ready to continue his journey. The children will probably come back tomorrow, he said kindly, and they'll probably be loud again. But you can choose. You can hold on to anger and suffer, or you can let it go and keep your peace. The next day, the children came to the forest. They were playing, running, shouting, just as before. The elephant felt the anger start to rise, the familiar frustration, the desire to chase them away. But this time, he remembered the monk's words. There is anger, he said to himself. It has arisen. He took a deep breath. He felt the anger. He didn't push it away. He didn't act on it. He just noticed it. And then, slowly, he let it go. Like opening his trunk and releasing something he'd been holding. The anger faded. The children kept shouting. But somehow, it didn't hurt as much anymore. The elephant stood peacefully by the river, listening to the children play. The noise was still there, but his peace was intact. And he realized something profound. Peace doesn't come from making the world quiet. Peace comes from staying quiet inside yourself, no matter what noise the world makes. From that day on, the elephant was known not as the angry elephant, but as the peaceful elephant. Children played in the forest, and he would watch them calmly, sometimes even making gentle sounds that made them laugh. He had learned to let go, and in letting go, he had found something far more valuable than silence. He had found peace. Now the second story begins. This one is about a king who made an incredible choice. There was once a great king who ruled a vast kingdom. He had everything anyone could want: palaces, wealth, power, servants, fine food, beautiful clothes. People bowed when he walked by. Everyone obeyed his commands. He was the Buddha in another life, learning about what truly matters. One day, the king was walking through his palace gardens. They were beautiful fountains, flowers, peacocks, perfect in every way. But as he walked, he noticed something. He wasn't happy. Despite all his wealth, all his power, all his possessions, he felt empty, restless, like something important was missing. He sat down on a marble bench and thought about this. I have everything, he said to himself. So why do I feel like I have nothing? Just then, an old monk walked past the palace gardens. He was traveling through the kingdom, begging for alms, living simply with just his robe and his bowl. The king watched him. The monk had nothing, no palace, no servants, no wealth, just a simple robe and a peaceful expression. But the monk looked happy, truly happy. There was a lightness in his step, a calmness in his face, a peace that seemed to radiate from him. The king called out to him, "Old monk, come here." The monk approached and bowed respectfully. "Tell me," the king said, "you have nothing, no home, no possessions. You beg for food each day, and yet you seem peaceful, content. How is that possible?" The monk smiled gently. "Because I carry nothing, I am not burdened. Because I want nothing, I lack nothing. Because I hold on to nothing, I am free." The king thought about this. "But I have everything, and I feel burdened. I have everything, and I feel like I lack something. I hold on to everything, and I feel trapped." "Yes," the monk said simply, "you understand." The king was quiet for a long time. Then he asked, "Can you teach me? Can you show me how to find what you have found?" "I can try," the monk said, "but it will require you to let go of many things." "Anything," the king said. "I'm ready." Over the following months, the monk taught the king, not in the palace, but in the forest. They would meet in a quiet grove, and the monk would teach about peace, about simplicity, about letting go of attachment. The king learned to meditate, to sit quietly, to watch his thoughts without being controlled by them. He learned that happiness doesn't come from having more. It comes from wanting less, from being content with what is, from finding peace and simplicity. Slowly, his perspective changed. He began to see his palace not as a treasure, but as a burden. His crown not as power, but as a weight. His possessions not as security, but as chains. One day, he made a decision. He called his advisors together. "I am leaving," he told them. "I am giving up the throne." They were shocked, horrified. "But Your Majesty, you can't. Who will rule?" "My son is ready," the king said calmly. "He is wise and good. He will be a better king than I ever was, because he will rule from duty, not from emptiness." "But where will you go? What will you do?" The king smiled a real smile, perhaps the first in years. "I will walk the forest. I will meditate. I will learn. I will find the peace I've been seeking my whole life." His advisors tried to convince him to stay. His family pleaded with him, but his mind was made up. He removed his crown. He changed his silk robes for simple cloth. He took nothing with him except a walking stick, and he left. He walked into the forest, found the monk who had taught him, and together they traveled, begging for food, sleeping under trees, owning nothing, carrying nothing. And for the first time in his life, the king, no longer a king, felt truly happy. He learned that peace doesn't come from controlling a kingdom. It comes from letting go of the need to control anything. That true wealth isn't gold and jewels. It's a quiet mind, a calm heart, a spirit unburdened by wanting. Years later, people would tell stories about the king who gave up everything and gained the only thing that mattered. They would say he was the wisest king who ever lived, not because of how he ruled, but because of how he chose to stop ruling and start living. Let's breathe together slowly, in and out, peaceful and calm. The third story is short and gentle, about fireflies who taught a village about patience. In a village near a forest, the people were always rushing, always hurrying, always impatient. "Faster," they would say. "Hurry up, we don't have time." They rushed through meals, rushed through work, rushed through life. Even the children learned to rush, to hurry, to never slow down. One summer evening, something magical happened. Thousands of fireflies emerged from the forest. They drifted over the village like floating stars, their lights blinking on and off, slow and peaceful. The entire village stopped. Everyone came out of their houses to watch. The fireflies moved slowly. They didn't hurry. They just drifted gently through the warm evening air, their lights pulsing in a rhythm that felt like the heartbeat of the earth itself. Slow, steady, peaceful. The villagers watched in silence, and without realizing it, their breathing slowed, their hearts calmed, the constant rush inside them began to quiet. A small girl whispered to her mother, "Why do they go so slowly?" Her mother thought about this. "Maybe," she said quietly, "they know something we've forgotten." The fireflies stayed for hours. The villagers watched the whole time, barely moving, barely speaking, just being present with the gentle light show. When the fireflies finally drifted back into the forest, the village felt different, quieter, calmer, more peaceful. From that night on, whenever someone in the village started to rush, started to hurry, started to feel that frantic impatience, someone would say softly, "Remember the fireflies," and they would slow down, take a breath, move at a pace that felt peaceful rather than frantic. The fireflies had given them a gift without saying a word. They had taught them that life doesn't have to be a race, that beauty unfolds slowly, that peace lives in the pauses, not the rushing. The fourth story is about a sage who learned the power of silence. In a great city lived a famous teacher. He was brilliant. He could debate anyone and win. He could answer any question. He knew scriptures and philosophy and science. Students came from far away to learn from him, and he taught them well. But he taught by talking, constantly talking, explaining, debating, arguing, proving points. Words poured from him like water from a fountain. Endless words, clever words, true words, but so many words. One day, a very old monk came to visit him. This monk was known throughout the land as the wisest of all teachers. The famous teacher was honored. He prepared tea. He arranged cushions. He was ready to have a brilliant conversation with this legendary monk. The monk arrived, sat down, and said nothing. The teacher waited politely. Still nothing. Finally, the teacher spoke. "I am so honored to meet you. I have heard of your wisdom. I would love to learn from you." The monk smiled but said nothing. The teacher tried again. "Perhaps you could share some teaching, some insight? I am eager to learn." Silence. The teacher felt uncomfortable. Wasn't this monk supposed to be a great teacher? Why wasn't he teaching? He tried once more. "I have questions about meditation, about peace, about enlightenment. Could you?" The monk held up one finger. "Stop." Then he closed his eyes and sat in silence. The teacher didn't know what to do. Should he leave? Should he wait? Should he speak? He decided to wait. Maybe this was some kind of test. Minutes passed. 5, 10, 15, 20. The teacher's mind raced. He thought about all the questions he wanted to ask, all the things he wanted to say, all the ideas he wanted to discuss. But the monk just sat, silent, peaceful, still. More time passed. 30 minutes, an hour, and slowly, something strange happened. The teacher's racing mind began to slow. The constant stream of thoughts and words and ideas began to quiet. In the silence, he began to notice things he'd never noticed before. The sound of wind through the window, the feeling of his own breathing, the peace that existed underneath all his thinking. Another hour passed. The teacher had stopped wanting to talk, stopped needing answers. He was just sitting, being peaceful. Finally, after 3 hours, the old monk opened his eyes. He looked at the teacher and smiled. Then he stood up, bowed, and left, without saying a single word. The teacher sat there for a long time after the monk was gone. He had learned more in that silence than he'd learned in years of studying and reading and debating. He had learned that sometimes the deepest wisdom can't be spoken, that peace exists in the space between words, that the mind only becomes truly clear when it stops filling every moment with noise. From that day on, the teacher changed. He still taught, but differently. He spoke less, he listened more. And he taught his students not just what to think, but how to be quiet enough to discover truth for themselves. He never forgot the lesson the silent monk had given him, that sometimes the greatest teaching is no teaching at all. That silence itself is a teacher. That peace is found not in having all the answers, but in being comfortable with the questions. One last story now, the gentlest of all, about a lake that reflected everything perfectly. High in the mountains, there was a lake, small, perfectly round, surrounded by pine trees. The lake was special because it was perfectly still. No rivers fed into it. No streams flowed out. It simply sat there, calm and quiet, fed by underground springs. Because it was so still, its surface was like a mirror. It reflected everything perfectly: the mountains, the trees, the sky, the clouds, even the stars at night. A traveler once came to this lake. He had been walking for weeks through difficult terrain. He was tired, frustrated. His mind was full of worries and problems and things that had gone wrong. He sat down by the lake to rest. As he sat there, he looked at the water. It was so still, so perfectly clear. He could see the reflection of the mountains, exact and beautiful. Then a breeze came through. The water rippled. The reflection became distorted, broken, unclear. But within moments, the breeze passed. The water became still again, and the reflection returned, perfect once more. The traveler watched this happen several times. Breeze, ripples, distortion, calm, perfect reflection again. And he understood something. His mind was like the lake. When it was still, it could see things clearly. It could reflect truth. It could understand. But when it was disturbed by worries, by anger, by rushing thoughts, everything became distorted. He couldn't see clearly, couldn't think clearly, couldn't find peace. The solution wasn't to prevent the breezes. Life would always bring disturbances. Problems would arise. Difficulties would come. The solution was to be like the lake, to let the disturbances pass, to return to stillness, to trust that clarity would return if he just remained calm and patient. The traveler sat by that lake for 3 days, just sitting, watching, learning. When he finally continued his journey, he carried the lake with him, not literally but in his heart, in his mind. Whenever problems arose, whenever his mind became disturbed, he would remember the lake. He would let the disturbance pass. He would return to stillness. And he found that peace was always there, waiting, underneath all the ripples, just like the lake's perfect reflection was always there, waiting for the water to become calm again. And so all 5 stories are complete. The elephant who learned to let go of anger, the king who chose peace over power, the fireflies who taught patience, the sage who discovered the wisdom of silence, the lake that showed the path to inner calm. 5 stories about peace, real, lasting, inner peace, the kind that stays with you no matter what happens around you. Let these stories settle into your heart now as you drift toward sleep. Peace isn't something you have to search for far away. It's always here, always inside you, always available. You just have to be still enough to notice it. Like the lake, you can let disturbances pass and return to calm. Like the elephant, you can let go of anger and keep your peace. Like the king, you can choose what truly matters. Like the fireflies, you can move through life slowly and peacefully. Like the silent monk, you can find wisdom in quiet. The night is deep and peaceful now. Everything is still, everything is calm. The elephant is resting by his river. The king is sleeping under the stars, finally at peace. The fireflies are glowing gently in the forest. The sage is sitting in peaceful meditation. The lake is perfectly still, reflecting the moon. And you can rest too, knowing that peace is not something you have to achieve or earn or work for. Peace is what you are when you let everything else fall away. Take one more soft, gentle breath. Feel the peace that's always been here, always been inside you, always been waiting. Good night. May your dreams be calm and beautiful. May you wake feeling rested and peaceful. May you carry this quiet calm with you always. Rest now. Let go. Be peaceful. Sleep